Our next lightning talk speaker is Eric Adams, founder and CEO of Dog and Whistle. Eric Adams is the founder of Dog and Whistle, a pet company dedicated to fresh, sustainable nutrition using upcycled ingredients to reduce waste and promote pet wellness. With a background in culinary arts and restaurant management, Eric saw an opportunity to apply his expertise in food to the pet industry, where he sees so much opportunity to innovate with upcycled ingredients, carbon neutral practices, and fresh, real food by creating meals that prioritize health, sustainability, and transparency. Under his leadership, Dog and Whistle has secured investment through Generator, expanded into retail and direct-to-consumer channels, and gained national recognition through platforms like Bet on Black, Times Square Features, and South by Southwest. His work champions circular economy, carbon neutral practices, and innovative pet food solutions. Eric is passionate about reshaping the future of pet food, reducing waste in the food system, and creating a positive impact on both pets and the planet. Rocket, his high-speed, four-legged best friend, is his motivation for his mission-driven approach as he continues to inspire change in the industry while making sustainable pet nutrition more accessible to pet parents everywhere. Please join me in welcoming Eric Adams. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. All right, so I'm going to sit eye level just because I'm a little nervous, so you have to bear with me. First off, who is that guy on that photo? There, right, with that hair. So thank you so much for the introduction. I really appreciate it. The 7 minutes haven't started yet, so we're going to hold off on that. Let's press pause, press pause, press pause. Perfect. So just a couple of fun facts, right? We're going to do some housekeeping moments. So rescuing food, upcycling is the term, actually. 1 pound of food that is actually being rescued, it actually equates to 226 pounds of water that's being rescued. So just keep that in mind, okay? When it comes to CO2e, you're looking at 32.8 CO2e, excuse me, nervous, that's being rescued as well from that 1 pound of food. Now the 7 minutes can start. Boom. So we're going to tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about my story. So this story starts back in 2001. All right. So in 2001, I had the dreams and aspirations to wanted to become a chef. And during that moment, I had an opportunity to stage at a restaurant with a well-renowned chef, a black chef, and I left the clicker. So this chef, she was well-renowned throughout the city, and as you know, we're talking throughout different moments within our prep. I start seeing wicker baskets of green beans being brought in. So pretty much it just seemed like green beans were just being shucked every single day. Green beans, white potatoes, green beans, white potatoes. So one day I asked her, I said, you know, tell me about the 1960s. Tell me about the practices of the traditional black family, especially during those segregated days. And she said, and you guys will know this, but my middle name is Jamil. She said, well, Jamil, even though it was segregated, we had to make do with what we had. And the reason why is because of our uprooting, because of the way that we were brought up, the way our ancestors were given byproducts to create a meal for their family. So that easily translated to the 1960s, where you have your traditional black family, 2 kids and a dog, right? She said that her husband would be working in the steel mill. They would come home while she's preparing their meal on Sundays. She would have a meal prepared just with the bare necessities, but still had the ability to make a meal for their dog, what was left. Now, on Sundays, they would see commercials of Friskies and Chuck Wagon and see the different movies that would show Doris Day, specifically Teacher's Pet, which she said was one of her favorites with the kids. But they saw those commercials and they just said that they just couldn't afford it. But not only couldn't they couldn't afford it, she just did not understand what the ingredients were. She just identified with the simple fact that I know what my dog's eating, and it's table scraps, right? We can easily identify with those ingredients. So I asked her, what happened to food, right? What happened to food throughout the years? And she said that food lost its purpose, right? Food lost its purpose. People were taking it for granted, and it didn't bring people together. So I then asked her, I said, well, how do we come back to it? How do we find that way to get food back to being important to us? And she didn't have an answer. She just said, get back to work because we have to open up this restaurant that we have a line outside the door specifically on Sundays. So there was this moment in my career. I was working with a corporation on the Las Vegas Strip, and they had a sustainability program that wasn't as sustainable as you thought. And they were throwing away perfectly good food that could have been made for meals, that could have been used as mystery baskets, that could have been used as practice, but perfectly good foods that were just being thrown away just because they had to get rid of it. And that's when that Willy Wonka music, that doom, 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 kind of just hit me. And I was like, wait a minute. I got it. We're going to find our way with tying in that food that we're rescuing, or thinking about how that chef built that relationship with those farmers that would get those wicker baskets of green beans, do that grunt work, and go out and reach out to them and say, hey, let me rescue that food and do something with it. Hence, Dog and Whistle was born. But two things on this slide. Well, one thing has changed, one thing remains the same. The first thing is the traditional pet parent. The first slide, 2 kids, a dog. Now you have your traditional pet parents, which are 2 pet parents and 2 pets. You know, millennials, Gen Zers are now having less children and having more pets. Food waste is still here. We're just being innovative in terms of Dog and Whistle, and we're rescuing those foods from your local distributors and the restaurant partners. I guarantee you all those apples that you saw in the basket in that hallway out there is probably going to get tossed, unfortunately. But, if you see one, grab it. We rescue those foods. We transform it to single ingredient treats, wholesome meals, toppers for your pets. We deliver it to your pets. We deliver it to your house for your pets to enjoy. And a little shameless plug, gonna show a little bit what we look like, right? So as I reflect and have that conversation about that famous chef, you may have heard of her. The name is Annie A. Golden. If you haven't heard of her, it's okay. But believe it or not, that chef was actually my grandmother. So her innovative ways that was actually made out of disparity created a culture, created a movement that we see here today, that no matter what, you can make a meal out of anything and feed your pets. So, and that restaurant that I was talking about was actually her house, because she had everyone come to her house on Sundays, and no matter what, you had a meal that was available for you. And she never threw anything away. So I thank you for your time. Looks like I got under 7 minutes, which is great. And thank you so much.